let's start with the news of yesterday, which we continue to react to today. No, Aaron Donald is not signed yet. No, Khalil Mack is not signed or in Raiders camp yet or traded yet. Still yet to be seen. What has happened is Aaron Rodgers has inked the largest deal in the history of the National Football League. And over the next year or so, he's going to get $80 million in cash. $80 million. Front-loaded in terms of money, signing bonus, guaranteed value is through the roof. I've told Colin, I've told Joy, I've told anybody who's listening when I'm sitting in this seat or on the couch that I believe Aaron Rodgers is the best thrower of a football, the best quarterback I've ever seen play the position. And why I'll completely understand that if you have your guy, if you're a Montana guy and you want to go back to the 80s and early 90s, or if you're Tom Brady and the ability to consistently not just win the division, get deep in the playoffs, get to a Super Bowl, have Super Bowl wins, even have the greatest comeback in the history of the Super Bowl. If you're a Brady guy, that's fine. You can be a Brady guy. Brady has more rings. Brady has more accomplishments. I did not say, semantics do matter in this seat. I did not say that that Aaron Rodgers is the most accomplished quarterback in the history of the game. I think he's the best. And I think he's the best for the 21st and 22nd century. In terms of 2018, you have to be mobile. You have to be mobile within the pocket and occasionally manipulate the pocket, extend the pocket, and then you have to extend drives with your legs outside of the pocket, all the while trying to avoid taking on the big hit. And I understand you're like, look, he just broke his collarbone. Yes, but those are things that happen within the pocket. It's not like he's a Cam Newton trying to run over dudes, or he's, Mike Vick trying to run around guys. He does scramble occasionally for a first down, but that's what he can do behind the line of scrimmage. We have not seen done in such a complete form yet in the NFL. He's not Steve Young, yet he does have some of Steve Young's escapability. What's interesting, though, about this paycheck is that you will hear people say on this network, on other networks, well, now he's got to win another Super Bowl. Because winning 2 Super Bowls somehow puts you in a different class, in a different category. And look, it's a decent conversation, but it's a trap that we fall into all the time. Did Dan Marino really need to win a Super Bowl to prove to you that he was awesome? Anybody who watched him, anybody who watched those teams that had no defense and no running game, he played for 2 of the all-time greatest coaches in the history of the league. He got to 1 Super Bowl and lost to the Niners in Santa Clara. 1 time. Didn't need 1. And if the knock against him was, well, look, Dan Marino only got to the big game once. Aaron Rodgers only got in there once, and he's won. If the question is, can he come through in the clutch? Didn't he do it in Dallas a couple years ago? Heck, even in the wild card game against the Arizona Cardinals, the year before they won the Super Bowl, a game they lost. I mean, the perfect embodiment of Aaron Rodgers' career is he was incredible. 21 fourth-quarter points, 21. And yet he was outshone in that game by Kurt Warner, 29 of 33. Yeah, Kurt Warner's numbers were sick. In other words, he had no defense. He can't play both sides of the football. If you want to tell me, hey, Peyton Manning won 2 Super Bowls and Aaron Rodgers has only been to 1, okay. Peyton Manning didn't play great in the Super Bowl they won. In the Super Bowl they lost, he didn't play particularly well. And the Super Bowl that he won in his last game as a pro football player, they were better off with the water boy offense than they would have been having Peyton Manning throw a football. He couldn't. That was a year in which Peyton Manning was benched for Brock Osweiler. That happened. He had 9 touchdowns, 17 interceptions, and he was benched for Brock Osweiler. And in the playoffs, they said, we'll take Peyton's head ahead of Brock Osweiler's arm, and they gambled, and they won because they had an incredibly dynamic defense with remarkable special teams, quality kicking, and a brain, although not an arm, of Peyton Manning. You want to go Ben Roethlisberger's 1, too? That's fair. It should be noted that Ben Roethlisberger's first Super Bowl, he had the lowest passer rating in the history of the Super Bowl for a winning quarterback. How low was it? 25. 25. The previous low was John Elway's first Super Bowl, which was in the 50s. So it was less than half that of the previous all-time low. Matter of fact, if you go back to that Detroit Super Bowl where Ben Roethlisberger won the Super Bowl, the best pass for the Pittsburgh Steelers was thrown by a wide receiver, Antoine Randall. So the idea that Aaron Rodgers, who we all think is great, right? And we know in watching him, he has incredible arm strength. He's obviously had the ability to make these Hail Mary throws. He's led comebacks. He's shown toughness. He's done it without a running game. Heck, his running back the past year was a wide receiver. He's done so in bad weather. He's done so following the lengthy and wide shadow of Brett Favre, who preceded him in Green Bay. He's done all of these things. And yet somehow, to cement him as one of the all-time greats in some people's minds, he's got to do it again. Why? Has he won on the road in the playoffs? Sure. Has he led great comebacks? Sure. Has he shown the ability to fight through injury? Yes. Matter of fact, in Seattle a couple years ago, remember the Super Bowl that Seattle feels like they rightfully should have won because they didn't hand the ball to Marshawn Lynch? Seattle fans have forgotten that they should have lost the game to the Green Bay Packers, in which he was playing on one leg with a torn calf. He's played hurt. He's played in bad weather. He's played from behind. He's played without a good defense. He's played without a running game. And yet he still found a way to have the best pass to interception ratio in the history of the National Football League. Period. He doesn't turn it over. He extends the play. He extends drives. He has incredible arm strength and accuracy. He's the best back shoulder thrower, throwing guys open that we've ever seen. And so if to you want to see him win one more, I like to see him win one more. Look, I'd like to see him play Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. I want the Super Bowl to give us what the NBA didn't. We never got Kobe versus LeBron. Didn't get it. And I know that Brady didn't play against Manning when Brady played against Manning. And I understand that Brady won't play against Rodgers technically. But don't you want to see it? Don't you? Right? Look, Tom Brady has shown also the ability to be clutch, but he's not as athletic as Aaron Rodgers. And though you have to credit him for the Super Bowl wins, part of the reason they lost those two Super Bowls to the New York Giants was it was the one time they made him, it was the two times they made him move. Right? Force him off his spot. If you can get him off his spot, he is a completely different quarterback. I'm not going to sit here and tell you I'm some football guru or that I play in the National Football League or that I've broken down film after film after film, but I've watched enough to know that the kryptonite to Tom Brady's super armor is making him move off the spot. And the New York Giants were able to do that with their NASCAR pass rush 2 times over. It's one of the reasons that the Ravens had success against him in the playoffs. They had a prodigious pass rush. Aaron Rodgers, though comfortable as comfortable in the pocket, has the ability to do things outside of the pocket or move the pocket or manipulate the pocket that Tom Brady just doesn't. And oh yeah, by the way, there isn't anyone who's going to sit there and point to the Green Bay Packers coaching staff and put it in the same realm as what you have working with Bill Belichick and his crew in New England. No one does. A better run organization with better coaching staff, with a weaker division, and in many instances, a weaker conference. And Brady, in many ways, has been fortunate. Whereas Aaron Rodgers, at times, has been unfortunate. Injuries. Heck, look, even bad luck in playing in Seattle. But this idea that in order to live up to this contract, in order to live up to the expectations of people like myself saying, he's the best I've ever seen play the quarterback position. And there have been far more credible minds in football say the exact same thing, that he's got to win a second one. Does he? I mean, even getting to a Super Bowl. I grew up a Charger fan. Stan Humphries went to a Super Bowl. Does that somehow elevate him above so many other quarterbacks that never got there? Chris Chandler got to a Super Bowl with the Atlanta Falcons. That, by the way, was when the Atlanta Falcons went to Super Bowl. Like, Chris Chandler, how do I know that name? Jake Delhomme. Remember Jake Delhomme, 6th interception? Jake Delhomme? Yes. Jake Delhomme led the Carolina Panthers to a Super Bowl. I'm not trying to diminish what the biggest sporting event in the United States is or means, but there's a lot of other factors that get into whether or not you get to, let alone win a Super Bowl. Whereas what you do in the regular season, what you do in the playoffs, what you do in times of strife, are you able to play hurt? Are you able to play from behind? Are you able to lead? Are you able to play through injury? Have you made miraculous comebacks, incredible throws, the play, consistently not turn the football over, which, by the way, puts your team in the best position to win? Ask anybody who watches sports. The number one thing which gives you a chance to win a game is not turning the football over. And no one's done it better in the history of the sport, throwing a football, than Aaron Rodgers. It's not just the plays he makes, the great plays he makes, it's the bad plays he doesn't make. So to you, if you want to see him get to a second one, I do too. But if you think a second one or a third one are the only things that keep him from somehow being anointed as the greatest ever, I give you Peyton's last Super Bowl win, to which he had carried very little responsibility in it. Ben Roethlisberger Super Bowl. Heck, even Eli Manning, who has 2 Super Bowl wins. You realize in the last decade, the New York Giants have 4 playoff wins, all in one season? That's it.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.